Hi everyone, this is Carmela Bell with the Diabetic Type Life. I'm your natural born advocate. I wanted to come by today and just talk to you about a couple of things. We got a great question in the group. If you're not in the group, you should come on over to a Diabetic Type Life and join the group so that you can kind of have a little bit more personal feel. I can kind of talk to you a little bit more in detail about certain things. I share a few extra things in the group that I do on the main page. But for now, we're here. And I want to start out by giving a shout out to a lot of the new people who have joined. I want you to know that I see you, I hear you. I'm glad you're here. I hope that more people start, talking and letting us know what you need, telling us about the things that are going on in your diabetic daily life so we can all support you and so I can help you as best I can. My goal is to tell you what I know, what I've learned from my experience, and to find out things for you that you need to know. If I don't know it, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to ask somebody. I know nutritionists, I know diabetes educators, I know nurses. So if there are things that you want to know that you're just not getting the answers to, let me know. I'm happy to do some legwork and see to it that we get answers to those questions. In the future, I have some plans to partner with some diabetes educators and some nurses, no nutritionists, and get them on here. I want to be able to do like some little question answer or some interviews to where you all can give me questions and I can ask them the questions you want to know. Because what I know that all medical plans don't cover access to talk to diabetes educators. And even if your plan does allow you to talk to nutritionists, many of us don't pay the money to go and speak with them. So I want to be able to bring those people to you, but I need to know what you want to hear, the things you need to know, the questions that you need answers to. So if you all will start kind of posting that, maybe I'll do some surveys, some short little polls, and you can kind of tell me, more through those mediums what you need. That is something that I plan to do. I'm kind of looking down just because I want to take a look at my little notes here. And so the first thing I want to talk about here is just to let you know again that I'm not a nutritionist, not a diabetes educator. I've spent a lot of years trying to get myself healthy. And in doing that, I've learned a lot about nutrition, a lot about, portion sizes and carb counting and calories. When my son became diagnosed in 2012, he was 6 years old. Our world's changed immediately. What I thought I knew about healthy meal planning and carb counting and portion control just was turned on a dime. I mean, it was completely flipped upside down. And I had to, really regroup. I had to learn that an eating plan for a diabetic is not exactly the same as eating for weight loss. And the more I talk to people, this is something that I find is often a misconception. They think that it's the same, and it's not. So I want to start talking with you all about some of those differences. For instance, if I'm wanting to eat to lose weight, I might say, oh, I should eat several small meals a day with a few snacks in between to manage my metabolism. Sorry about the glare in my glasses, by the way. I'm keep putting my head down to try to lower that glare for you because personally I don't like it, but it's easier for me to hold this camera, so hopefully you can deal with it and we'll get better as we go along. But so if you see, why does she keep doing that? That's why I'm trying to keep the glare at the glasses. But anywho, people will say, oh, just eat a few small meals and, eat a few snacks and you'll be good. But the thing you have to know is diabetes is different. And depending on what you had for breakfast and, will determine what your blood sugar is for that little snack. You might not need a snack between breakfast and lunch, depending on how many carbs you ate at breakfast and how your blood sugar is being managed with pills versus insulin. So just because Sally is doing her little small meals with her snacks doesn't mean that's what you need to do. So you just want to know that when you create a meal plan, you're not doing the exact same thing as people who are making plans for weight loss. Your situation is going to be a little bit different because you have a few other factors to consider. So, but tonight in the group, we had somebody ask a question, and thank you for asking that question. It was really great. I'm glad you did, and so I'm going to answer it here. The question was, what kind of snacks can I eat at 8 p.m. in the evening? that, you know, won't drastically affect the blood sugar. So my answer to that is kind of hard because I just have like 100 questions I want to ask in order to really be able to answer that question. But the first thing I will say is it depends. It is possible that if you ate dinner, too early, you may want to consider pushing your dinner back a little bit just so that you won't be so hungry by 8 o'clock, depending on the time that you go to bed. If you go to bed around 9 or 10, and maybe if you push your dinner back a little later, it'll keep you fuller longer, and then you won't need a late night snack at all. Or you may consider adding more protein to your meal so that you can be fuller longer and may not feel the need to have a snack. But if you're like me, where you eat and then you want a little something sweet, regardless if you're full or not, you just like, I just need something sweet, then that's where we want to determine, well, what did I eat for dinner? How many carbs did I have? And what is my blood sugar looking like? So this is where you really want to make sure you're checking your blood sugar to see if you even have room to try to eat a snack. Because you could have done well with your carb counting and your portion size and covering that meal with your meds or your insulin, but then you go and eat that little orange or that little apple or those little grapes, and you wake up in the morning 189 or 200, 225, like, man, why am I high? Because you ate those carbs and went to bed on it. It's really important that we don't eat these carbs and go to sleep on it, because it's just like filling up a tank of gas in your car and just parking it. Your blood sugar is basically just going to rise, rise, and rise. So you really do want to, you have other factors to consider as to, you know, whether you should eat a snack or not eat a snack, or what kind. If you know that you ate kind of an early dinner and now around 8 o'clock I do want a little something extra, but I'm still going to be up for a few hours and I'm going to be moving around my house cleaning up and I'm going to be busy, well, then you might be able to do a little bit of apple, because you're going to be moving around and you're going to burn that off. And if your blood sugar wasn't too high, you would probably wake up at a normal level. So there are just lots of factors to consider when you're talking about having snacks. So you do want to consider low carb snacks versus no carb snacks. So like celery is really good as a no carb snack. You could probably dip it in a little something, not too much, just to give you a little flavor or taste, or do it with one of those mozzarella string cheese or something like that, or some kind of protein, meat or egg. You know, that would be perfect, because that protein will help you get full, and you know, the celery is crunchy and sometimes that's what we want, and that'll work. But if you're having that sweet tooth and you really want a piece of fruit, then you really want to consider sticking to low glycemic fruit. If you've ever heard of that word, it just means low sugar fruit that is not super sweet, which apples tend to fall into that range, but you can't be fooled by apples, because apples generally are larger and carry more carbs than we really think. You think, oh, this little normal size apple, surely that's not more than 15 carbs. Yeah, it's like 25 carbs. So the kind of apple you would have is like a little apple you would give to a toddler, like literally fit in the palm of your hand kind of situation. So there's a lot to consider. I just wanted to give you a few tips on that, as far as how to kind of, you know, dictate and decide if a snack is a good idea. And, you know, just more importantly, check your blood before you take that snack. I know that there are some type 2 diabetics whose doctors don't give them glucometers so that they can check their blood sugars, which I don't really know how you're supposed to be set up for success if you're not checking your blood. And that's just the truth. If your diabetes has been out of control, the way to get it back in control is to test your blood, is to test after you eat, you know, the 2 hours after you eat. And for a little bit, you might need to test more often. And then once you get a handle on how foods are functioning in your body, how quickly it's taking them to be processed and burned off, then you can dial it back and maybe not test as often. But from everybody that I've met, everybody I've assisted in creating a strategy, almost always we're testing way more than they've been instructed. I've even had one go to her doctor and they're like, oh, you don't need to test that much. But had she not been testing that much, she would have had some negative outcomes. So I'm not telling you to go against your doctor's orders at all, but I am suggesting that if you're going to eat a late night snack, check your blood, know what it is, think about how much activity you're going to be doing before you go to bed. And honestly, if you just have to have that snack, try to do low to no carbs so that you can be satisfied but not affect your blood sugar. So that's the one thing. I also want to just talk about mindset and to give you a little bit more of an idea of what I do. My whole mission for this business that I'm starting now is to come get the silent diabetics. I want to come find you, pull you out of the corner or cave or closet you are in, and I want to help you. I want to give you more information. I want to support you. I want to encourage you, because the information that we're being given is really not sufficient and it's not fair. And diabetes is too expensive to be sitting around in a situation that we don't have to be in. Some of us will probably have to deal with diabetes for a longer period of time, but a lot of you have the ability to rid yourself of this situation. And so I want to just help you create a strategy to regain control over your diabetes management and your life. So if you're doing pretty well and you're eating well, you're exercising well, which I think I've said this before, and you've got everything under control, then just be a support and a resource to everybody else. But my goal is really to focus on mindset and helping you shift your mind, helping you think of one thing different that you can do today than you did yesterday to be better at managing your diabetes. Because the deal is, we don't have to lose limbs. We do not have to be on dialysis. Nobody else has to lose a toe. Nobody else has to go blind. But the way we avoid that is by covering the food we eat, meaning I check my blood and I take my meds as prescribed. If it's pills, you take your pills when you're supposed to. And when you're on pills, it's a little bit harder when you want a little sweet treat or certain snacks, because it's harder for you to kind of balance that out and cover it. So you kind of really want to have a good conversation with your doctor to say, hey, every now and again, I want to eat this and that. How can I do that? And what is the best way to do it? And what's the right time for me to do it to maximize my blood sugar? People who are on insulin, cover it. Give yourself a little more insulin to cover that particular treat. If this is not a regular everyday occurrence, usually you stay on your meal plan, but you want something sweet. It's a birthday party. It's a celebration. It's something, heck, it's just a Friday and I've been doing good and I want a cookie. Cover it. Don't not test your blood sugar, and don't not take your insulin and just act like, oh, I don't have diabetes. You do. And every time you don't test, and every time you skip a pill, and every time you don't take that shot, you're making yourself go closer and closer to all those negative consequences that you don't have to deal with. So if I could ask for anything, it would be to test your blood, know what your levels are before you eat these things, and, just try to make the choices you need to make. And if you need help with those choices because you just literally, I want to do right, I promise I do, but I don't know what right is, then you need to talk to me. I have set aside some time for some consultations. They're about 20, 30 minutes. I'm doing them free of charge because I want to hear what you need. And if you need to kind of talk to me to see how we might be able to work together, if we can help you create a strategy towards getting on the right track, then I want to do that for you. But if you are doing okay and you just need a few tips here or there, then just stay in the group, stay on the Facebook page. I'm going to be posting all kinds of things. And I'd rather you be here and share with other people who need it than not. So I don't want to keep you forever, but those are just a few things I wanted to talk to you about. I hope that, this was helpful. So as far as having snacks, you can have them, but you need to know what your blood sugar is first. And that means if it's in the morning or afternoon or evening, you need to know what your blood sugar is first, because sometimes your blood sugar may tell you, I know you want it, but I can't take it. I'm already high and I need some time to come down. And we just want to work with, with our blood sugars and make sure we get them on track. So I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you because I know how hard it is. Me and my son and my husband and my daughter, we have an altered life because of diabetes. So I know what the struggle looks like. I've helped many type 2 individuals get on track. and work out a plan that they never thought they could even get on. A1Cs have gone down. You know, they're feeling better, fewer symptoms. So this is something I know, and this is something I can help you with, but it starts with the mind. We have to work through grief sometimes. Sometimes, you know, we're just sad. It just stinks that I have to deal with this. You know, I had a perfect life before diabetes and now I don't. You know, that you got to deal with that. We can't ignore that. That's going to hold you back. So we want to push through that. And just like another member in the group, she's like, you know, I eat these unhealthy things and then I feel bad. I feel guilty. No need for guilt and shame. It's just going to hold you back. You need all the energy you can get to push through everything you have to do in a day for diabetes. So you don't have time to feel guilty, but do know, okay, that was out of line. I need to make some corrections. Make them. Make them. Forgive, forget, make them, and move on. So if you need some help with that, please message me or email me at Carmela@adiabetictypelife, and I'll be happy to set aside some time to talk with you to see, you know, how we can craft a plan for you to reclaim your life. Because I don't want another person to tell me they lost a limb or a toe or eyesight. I'm just so over it. It doesn't have to happen. Don't believe the hype. And the other thing before I go, I want to say, I know a lot of people in the group are from different countries. Well, obviously I'm from America, so I don't know a lot about, you know, the kind of foods that are available in other countries and kind of what your customs are and how you manage your diabetes. So please take this as an opportunity to educate us all. Share what you can to help us understand what diabetes looks like for you and in your culture and how you manage it. And we can all learn and we can all help each other and maybe eradicate this thing sooner. Well, that'll be all for today. So I just want to tell you to be well, test often, and have a good night.